So we have a lot to share. Let's begin. A lot of people don't get a good night's sleep, and there are a lot of simple reasons for that. Most of them are not complicated. Let me just go through the reasons that you don't get a good night's sleep, that you could do something about. We stay up too late, passing the biological clock. We start throwing our circadian rhythms out of balance. You see, from about 8 o'clock in the evening to about 11 o'clock, our body starts to get ready for its catabolic, meaning resting, detoxification process. Then we go into a deep sleep, and that's restorative. That's when the metabolism slows down, your heart rate slows down, your body temperature's a little less. You burn calories, and you cleanse the body. Dead cells, fibrous material, bacteria, they're eliminated out of the body. Then in the morning, from about 4 a.m., you start becoming anabolic, building up, high energy. And it peaks around 11 o'clock in the morning. And then goes into a fairly common medium where we're not energized and we're not fatigued into about 4. And that's when people start wanting to take a nap, and should, if they can. 10, 15-minute nap would be great for you. And then we start this whole cycle all over again. Well, you can see how many times you've been dead tired at 10 o'clock, but you decide to stay up and watch a movie. Now it's midnight. Now you're no longer dead tired. So now you try to sleep and you can't. We also take stress to bed with us. Always try to ask questions that you want to see resolved the next day on a sheet of paper before you go to bed. I want to address A, B, C, D, whatever the questions and issues are. That way, you're not taking them to bed with you. Your mind has already said, all right, these are for tomorrow. I'll address them tomorrow. You could also take a nice Epsom salts bath and take 1,000 milligrams of magnesium from citrate. That'll calm you. That'll relax you. So these are some things we can do. We could take melatonin, and don't eat before you go to bed within 3 hours, because that'll turn your metabolism back on. But there's one thing we never talk about, and this is from the University of Illinois, College of Agriculture, published in Preventative Medicine. Quote, men and persons 65 and older who have access to natural surroundings, whether in its green space or a nearby park or a sandy beach with an ocean view, report sleeping better. It's hard to overestimate the importance of high-quality sleep. Studies show that inadequate sleep is associated with declines in mental and physical health, reduced cognitive function, and increased obesity. This new study shows that exposure to a natural environment can help people get the sleep they need. So, here's the takeaway message. If you live near a natural environment, and you just are able to open a window and breathe in nature. It's especially refreshing when it's raining out, and especially in nice weather when there's rain, or in the fall when you can smell the crispness of the leaves in the air, or when grass has been cut, or you can hear the ocean. But most people don't live near nature. So what do you do if you live in an apartment and you're not going to get that? Simple. You can buy simple CDs that have the actual sounds of nature. I know I made one of these years ago. It took me a month. Every night I would take my high-quality microphones out and place them right at and around a pond. And you could hear the crickets and the frogs, and you could, when it rained, you could hear the water splashing and hitting the leaves. I would put microphones under leaves and then a tin roof. And then I mixed all this together with flute music, and it was just wonderful. Well, having a CD you can listen to about 20 minutes before you go to bed, that'll help you go to sleep. Now, let's say that you watch television. Half hour before going to bed, there are these really beautiful and just majestic scenes of, it looks like an eagle, but it's probably a small airplane, and it's flying through the Grand Canyon or through the boreal forest, and then the rainforest, and around waterfalls all over the world. And you're watching this, and you're just transposed to that place. So watch that, and then that gives you that nature fix. So whether we are actually in nature, or whether we are watching it, listening to it, that helps get a better night's sleep, which can extend your life and expand your brain, all good. From the United Kingdom's Institute of Food Research, that would be like our FDA, published in Lipid Technology, is a new good study on the omega-3 fatty acids and how they help the good, the friendly bacteria in your gut to grow. The findings are important. Why? Because we can help prevent colorectal cancer with the good bacteria and the good fatty acids. We can turn off inflammation in the stomach and in the intestines from good bacteria and the omega-3 fatty acids. And you have a better immune system. So my suggestion is this. Take 1,500 to 2,000 milligrams a day of the omega-3 fatty acids. Now, the idea would be to get them from the sustainable and replenishable flaxseed and the oil flaxseed. But you can also get them from fish oil. Either way, it's good for you. Now, something that is not good for us are all these pharmaceuticals that we're getting without there being first an examination by the physician. Is this the only approach? Now, if it is the only approach, fine. But is this going to harm the patient? Is there greater likelihood a patient will end up being adversely affected by the medication than the disease? These are questions that have to be addressed outside of the existing medical model, which has failed miserably for chronic diseases. Works beautifully for acute illnesses and emergency medicine. But the chronic diseases, diabetes, obesity, depression, heart disease, high blood pressure, elevated cholesterol, it doesn't work. This is the latest study. Listen up. Quote from Natural News, feeling irritable, paranoid, or even violent? Before you blame other life triggers like your job, money problems, or your significant other, you might want to examine your prescription drug regimen, as it could be changing you in more ways than you realize. Close to 70% of Americans are taking at least one prescription drug, and more than 50% of all Americans are taking two or more. And that's from the Mayo Clinic. Prescription drug use rose from 44% in 1999 to 48% in 2008. And the most common are antibiotics, but then right behind those, antidepressants and painkiller opiates. More than 35 million Americans may be on a drug that causes violent, suicidal, and homicidal behavior. And it's not antidepressants. About 25 million Americans are currently taking statins. And under new guidelines issued this year, another 13 million may be eligible for the cholesterol-lowering drugs. Now, I do not have time today, but I will, on a program later this week, go into the latest investigation on statins and show you what kind of massive fraud they are. When I say massive fraud, I mean massive. So, while they are touted as being nothing short of a miracle for preventing heart attacks and stroke, which they don't, a new study says statins may cause some terrible side effects, including, quote, aggressive, violent, jealous, suicidal, even homicidal behavior. Researchers from the University of California found a link between statins and aggression, particularly in postmenopausal women over 45 years old. And a separate study out of Pennsylvania State University found that women taking birth control pills were more jealous because of the effect of the pill on their hormones towards their partners. So another big thing that we can do is get off the statin drugs. And unfortunately, so many people have bought into the idea that they're great, and they're not. So that's important to understand that. Also, as you become more physically active, and I suggest people power walk because it's one of the few things that most people can do without a problem. And a lot of malls in the United States open up early in the morning to allow those people who want a safe place and in inclement weather, a good place out of the snow or rain or heat to power walk, generally before the malls open. This is in the University of Illinois at Urbana. Doctors are now recommending physical activity to improve your brain. And what they're now saying, based upon this new study published in PLOS One, quote, we looked at over 100 adults between the ages 60 and 80, and we used accelerometers to objectively measure their physical activity over a week. And what we found was, according to them, that they observed how blood oxygen levels changed in the brain over time, reflecting the brain's activity at rest. And they found, quote, we found that spontaneous brain activity showed more moment-to-moment fluctuations in the more active adults. And there was other studies to support this. So, lay language, when you're bicycling, swimming, stationary cycling, power walking, you are increasing the blood flow and oxygenation to the brain, and that creates a greater mental flexibility, especially if you're older. And finally, from our health and nutrition segment, dark chocolate. This is a good one because it shows that people who have the healthy dark chocolate, and this is according to publication neuroregulation, plus theanine, you've heard me mention it many times in this program, that's what you get with green tea, and it helps calm the brain but keeps you alert. And it's great if you have agitation, stress. Take 200 milligrams theanine. But here's what it says, quote, previous articles show chocolate can change the chemical activity of our brains. It's particularly known for raising dopamine, a neurotransmitter associated with focus, pleasure, and motivation. But in this current study, they used people 18 to 25. They were given 60% dark cocoa chocolate, or the others were given 0, and plus they were given theanine. And the results show that the dark chocolate and the theanine, not the placebo and theanine, made measurable changes in blood pressure and mood before and after for at least 60 minutes. So here's the takeaway message. Maybe in the afternoon when you're feeling a little sluggish, a little tired, take 2 ounces of dark chocolate with 200 milligrams of theanine. Or how about having some green tea and eat your dark chocolate and follow it with some iced green tea and get your theanine that way. You're going to be more alert and feel better. That's the latest on health and healing.